Hello and welcome to RPA Fridays, number 14, a robot triggered from web input. My name is Roman and I'm also part of the Robot ICT company based in Czech Republic, focused on automation in different kind of industries. We are automating using RPA, which is Robotic Process Automation, and also this is what I will be showing today. And we also use our own workflow automation software, which is focused more on networks, data centers, and large IT environments. So if you want to know more about us, about Robot ICT, the Academy, or our community, all the links are in the description below. If you will enjoy this webinar, please give us a like and subscribe. It would mean a lot to us. So today's session, already number 14, I would love to welcome everyone. And today we will do something slightly different than the previous sessions. And we will take a look about on an idea or maybe question on how to trigger a robot from a website. When I mean from a website, it means from a website that we can actually edit or we can create this website and create it so that it can communicate with the robot and somehow interact. So I will show you how to build a simple website and create a sample robot that will take some request, process something, and then mark it as done. So it will be today about a more likely small project. Take it as an idea, as maybe let's say demonstration of how you can approach this, and definitely it's not a complete project that you can use as it is, because it has some let's say backdoors that it can be a little bit tricky, but definitely I want to show you how to approach things in this manner. I will do some coding. I will write some HTML or PHP and use some SQL requests. So first things first, let's think about it. How to trigger a robot from a website? Well, we can have a robot that is checking and maybe adding things in framework to queue from different sources. One of the source can be some database that could be connected to a website or database where data from a website are settled. But there we need to connect, and most of the usual hosting services do not allow us to connect to the SQL or other databases remotely, well, meaning not from the server itself. So you can read the data from the website, but you cannot really access it from remote connection, unless you're the administrator or unless you have a special setup, of course. So we will skip this one. Then there can be, for example, an action on a website. For example, when some user enters some data, or there is something that needs to be that the trigger to the robot should follow. For example, you can send an email from this website to a robot inbox, and then robot can be triggered. Or the third variant that we will use, to create a special web page for robot that robot can take inputs. So maybe this will be something that you might get in some inspiration from. Maybe you will use it. Maybe it will be just interesting session for you. I hope you will learn something new. So let's take a look at it. During the session, please ask questions in chat and I will answer them at the very end of today's session. To recreate this example, you will need UiPath Studio, obviously, some web hosting with MySQL or maybe other database, and working PHP, or of course, if you are handy in other languages, connected with website development, of course, and a code editor, of course. And for this particular example, I will use a Morse code translator, and all you can download through link in the description, first link. Also, there is already a source code for this project. So let's start. I hope you are ready. So firstly, let's take a look at what we will do. We will create a website. I set up a small web hosting on a website, and there is my PHP MyAdmin, where I can look at the database, and I will be saving the requests into MySQL database in the table called requests, where I'm showing you the structure of the table. The table has 5 5 columns, right? ID, which is unique and it's auto-incremented. Status, which will store status of the request. There will be 2 options, waiting and done. And text, which will be the input for the robot, and then the result will be saved into column called Morse. So the goal of the robot will be to convert it from text to the Morse code. And then the last column is mail. I'll leave it just maybe for you. You can maybe add this feature to this robot that after the robot is done, it will send through Outlook activities email on completing this task. But it's not really used in this project. So this is it. And if we take a look at what is already there, then I was already trying some data, some dummy data. You can see that the status is done by them, and there we have numbers incrementing. But this is only for me. It's an administrator page, so I need to create a website that will interact with the human and with the robot. And I have a blank skeleton of a website already loaded on the web, which one is just index.php. Here there will be the requests and also a little submit form, and then the for the robot website. And these 2 files, these 2 pages, I would love to show you how to do it, how to create them. So there will be a way how to input create the request, and then a way how the robot can handle them. So to start, I already have a little, as I said, little skeleton of the code or of the HTML code of the website. So as you can see, there are 2 files, index.php and for robot PHP. I put there already the standard things like headers and other stuff. And also there is on this 3rd line include connect PHP. That's the file where I store my credentials to the database. And obviously I won't show you this, but it's pretty simple. And in every tutorial to connection to MySQL, you can find a way how to create it. PHP works in a way that if you include some file, you can count with that as you would literally write it in the same file, right? So if you use a variable in the included included PHP file, you can count with that variable also when you're back. So it works like one nested file together. So in the body section, I created a small menu that you already saw on the website. This one, home and new request. Home it just links to parameter page nothing, and another one to parameter page send request, which is then followed. This menu is followed by 3 options, 3 sub pages that are that differ by it will be subpage for form for sending the request, then the subpage to submit it, to save it in the database, and of course the last one where there is no page selected will be the home page, where we want to just mention all the items or the requests, because we have to firstly load them into the database somehow. So first thing first, what I will create is I will create a small little form with action page submit, and method will be post. Good, and then close it. And inside the form, I want to have 2 inputs fields, email and text, and the submit button, right? So first will be text to convert, and I will just write simple code, not to really. I will not care about some styles or anything else. So this will be text area that will have a name text, and it will have, let's say, 50 columns and 5 rows. Okay, that's our text area. Then just old school new line over there, your email, and this will be input type text, name, email. Good, that's it. And last thing will be the submit button. This will be input type submit, and value will be submit it, for example. Right, so PHP works on server side, so I cannot really see what's happening. Oh well, there's not much PHP yet, but if I want to check it, I cannot open PHP like offline in the browser. Or eventually I could, but it will break it a little bit because I'm already using pieces of PHP to differentiate different pieces. So to test if it's working, I have my FTP, my FileZilla here, and I can just quickly load it there and see if we have any progress. So if I click new request, good. This is the form that I just created. Text to convert your email submitted. It's not doing anything. Okay, it's doing. It goes to the page submit, which is what I want. So now I will create the submit page, which is this section, right? You can if you're not really good in PHP, and this is really simple one, right? No object programming or stuff like that. You can just download the code and explore it, and you will see that it's pretty simple language, and it's a good language when you want to start playing around some dynamic, website creation stuff. So submit request, and here this will start to be a little bit more interesting. So I want to enclose to PHP section and create an SQL request. So SQL, I will save it into variable, insert into, then the table name, which is requests, insert into requests, and then in brackets what I want to input. So status, text, and mail. These are the name of the columns, values, and now the status will be waiting, like waiting to be processed. And then there are two more values that I want to extract from the form that was submitted recently before. So I will put them into single brackets, then into double brackets, and then dot request like this, and text. This will be text, okay. And I will reuse this because it's a lot of brackets around. And just instead of text, I will put mail. And close the bracket, and that should be it, like this. Yeah, so this is the SQL command. SQL is also a really simple thing to learn. So if you're considering RPA or any kind of IT things related to databases and to data, it's really handy to learn how this works because it's really widely used syntax. So and then we define query, which is MySQLi query. And two parameters, $con, that's connection from the connect.php file. So I did not work. I'm working in it. I use this in different file, and then the SQL, and then we will check if if it's fine, right? So this is a way how we execute the query, and we check if the result is all right. So if the result is fine, let's just write there something like request submitted, go to home to watch when it is done, for example, right? And in case there is any problem, then some problem, and there is a little command, MySQLi error, but you have to specify the connection. Should be easy as that. I hope there is no typo, and let's try it. It's good to try it in chunks. So I will try it if this works. So I will again load it to server and go back to the trigger. Test Fridays and email at friday.com, whatever, and I'll submit it. Good. Request submitted. Go to home and watch when it's done. And we can check in the administration page that it should be there. Okay, that's number 16. That doesn't matter. I was trying out something there. So it's here. Good. So it's waiting. And it has a different status than the other ones. So it's all the previous ones were done, and this one is waiting, which is cool because we can also differentiate between them. So little recap. We have a page with the input form. We have a page where we handle the data and we save them to database. And then we just want for the user to write down all the data from the table. Later, I will ask you to, when it will be done, right? I will ask you to go and try it and maybe add some requests, but later when the robot will be running, right? So there is also a link in the description, I believe so, or you can just watch it and rewrite it from the video. So let's list all of the data. So again, I will use this prefix and enclose in it again new query, which will be select ID status text from requests. Yeah, it's a nice nice command language, and I want to order it by ID and descending in a descending order. Yeah. So then result, let's say, will be, oh, maybe it can be query, result, whatever. MySQLi query, it already gives me some hints. Con $query, okay. I'm using different names to confuse you, different variable names, but it doesn't matter. Yeah, okay, it does matter actually. It's like this is actually confusing. So maybe let's go back to our previous way of how I was routing it down, and this will be query. Okay, this doesn't make sense any much more, but you get my point, right? So now what I want to do with the query is to actually use while $row MySQLi fetch array, and now query and brackets. Good. And now this will create a loop, a while loop, going line by line in the data. So what I want to do is to just write it down somehow in a simple manner. So row, this can be by index or by name. So let's call it by index. That's maybe nicer. And then let's use this simple separator. I'll put more of you there. And like this, and put the row status. We are interested in status. Then let's say text. Well, everything, right? ID status text, and yeah, maybe Morse also, right? We want to know the result in the Morse code. That's the last one. I almost forgot about this one. ID status text Morse, and there was email. We don't care about email. So, moment, I made a mistake over there. So like this. Yeah, it's a lot of letters there. Row Morse. Good, and that's it. And maybe like a new line. Good. Should be good as that. And let's try it out if I didn't make any mistake, because I was typing fast. I'm trying to make it interesting for those. Okay, good. Works just lovely. So there are, in a simple way, styled, of course, there is the data from the database. So maybe those who didn't know how to do things, now I just showed you how to work basically with SQL database and PHP, and it's pretty easy. So now we have for the human part, let's say, right? We can create new request. Hey human, whatever. Email doesn't have to be there, and we can go to home, and there are new requests waiting. So now I want to create a website for the robot, where from there the robot can take the input and also update the data with the Morse code. This will be this website for underscore robot.php, that, of course, like this, anyone could take a look at it and work with it if anyone would know how to do it and how to imitate that he or she is a robot. Of course, in real world, maybe you need some protection. Maybe it should be after some login, or maybe with some password or anything. But this is demonstration, right? So let's take a look at it at this point. So for a robot is this one, and I also prepared a small skeleton, a small base for this page. And there will be again two things. First, in this area, I will put the what will happen in case the robot has a solution, right? You will take the data and solve it, and then basically every time there will be a list of all the waiting items. So let's start with this one, and I prepared here also one little section, so we can leave the robot and give him all the items that are waiting. So again, I will use, let's keep it the same, SQL, and this will be select ID status text from requests where, and here will be the where clause, where status is waiting, so it won't show the one that are already done, and order by ID ascending, so it will take the oldest one to process, so it will not take the fresh one. And now how was it? Query, okay. Query will be MySQLi query, like this. This is the query, right? I will just double check it with the previous file. Okay, looks good. And now I will use the same while thing like before. While row MySQLi fetch array. It gives me already some hints. And in brackets, I will put each line into the echo. And I want to put it in a tag called div, which is let's say customizable or stylable section in an HTML page, where you can then later assign some styles and so on. It's not that nothing super, let's say, magical, but you can give it a class and ID. So I want to to give it a parameter class, which will be called class request, let's say, and I will use it to my advantage later. I mean, it could work without it, but if there will be more of these div tags, then robot can be confused, right? And now the text will be row ID, and then, for example, this sign again, row text. I could add here also brackets, but it should work without it. PHP is a language that takes a lot of let's say typographic your typographic culture, so you can do quite messy code in PHP, and it will work somehow. So this should give to this should be fine. So let's try it out. So for the robot, yes, rewrite it, and cool, we have these two inputs here. So once the robot will be done with this input, we want to update it. So that's the last step. So the goal is that the robot will take this text, will use this funny little app that I didn't show you before to input this text, and then take the Morse code as a result and update the data. So it will be using it will be done using this syntax that I already tried before here. See, so it will use a parameter called page solve. So this is the first thing. Then another parameter ID, then the ID of the request, and then of course the Morse code that will be and that's the result, right? So easy as that. How to do it? Last part of the code. So to parameters input text, right? Again, we need SQL here, and we need a command called update requests, set status to done, first of all, right? Because it's done. Then Morse, like the Morse code, will be set to $_request Morse, right? This is how we take the parameters from URL. This is how we do it. And you probably find it out yourself, because I'm using this quite often here. But if you have any questions to it, please ask in comments. Then the next thing will be that's all. That's all. We have to update status and Morse. But so we have to tell them what line to update. So we use where ID is A lot of brackets, I know, but it's good to get. It's good to have them, right? So where the ID is the request ID. So far so good. Let's just check if yeah, okay, query same thing like before, and if query, then let's give it some nice positive message, record updated ok, and if not, always some back how to say, some error handling, error, and good. Oops. Okay, this should be it. Let's try it manually. Let's try if this works, because I already have this solve and ID. Let's just change the ID to, let's say, 16, right? And put a Morse code, I don't know, doesn't matter, some Morse code. It doesn't work. It's not working because I did not update it. I did not send the file. So let's try it once again. Good. And we have the message record updated, okay. And if I will try it once more, it will update it till the infinite time. But also if I go back to the home page, right, home, then there is the change. It's done, and now it's 17 waiting. So I want to add a few more requests, few more. And I don't have to really put email there. Few more, right? And so the robot will have a better queue. Good. This is waiting for the robot in a, let's say, a queue. So the PHP part is done, and now the last part will be to have the robot actually work with the data. And this is fine because we have about 20 minutes till the end, and that's really fun. And it's not complicated at all. My UiPath is as usually already open. And what I will do is to create an infinite loop for this purpose. But of course, you can have the robot running, let's say, every hour in framework, or every hour just triggered by from orchestrator, or anything, any way how you want. But in my purpose, I will use some infinite loop. But first of all, I need open browser. All right, good. And I want to give it this URL to the website for robot. Oops, getting a little bit slow. Good, yep. Easy as that. And then to do something in the browser, right? So in the browser, I want to have the infinite loop. So I put while. I'll just double check with my, yeah, good. I have a little notes there. Don't you think that I'm 100% sure? I don't want to do mistake. So while, let's call it infinite loop, just for the reference. And here the condition will be true. So now the condition is fine. I will rename this body in while, just to have nice naming convention following, right? And in the body in while, I want to check if there is the element, if there is a new item. So I will use element exist, this one, and indicate the element. So far, okay, this is opened, right? Cool, easy. I will click indicate the element, and I will go for the second one for a good reason, because I want to play around with the selector a little bit. So when I take a look at the selector, I see that there is we have the parameter a name, which is not really good for us because this will change, and the tag is div, which is fine. But I want to open the UI Explorer and tune it a little bit more. And also the HTML URL will be better to have it a bit other way. Is it doing something? Yeah. Okay. It took some while. Oof. Sorry. I hope there will be, okay, third one. That's embarrassing a little bit, but let's see if this will load eventually. No, okay, so let's give it another try. I don't know what's happening there. Okay, that's a bit better. Okay, I like it better like this. I like it that it's a Firefox and it has a title, and that's how to distinguish one. And then in the this one, I want to do some changes. So definitely we don't use AA name because this will change. We can keep the tag div because that's what we want, but I will add the class request. And that's a class of each of the div element. And because I clicked at the second position, this is index 2, but I will change it to 1 and validate it and highlight it just in case, and that's the first one, right? So that's pretty easy, and this will always check if there is any first one. If there will be 0, there will be no result. If there will be more of them, it will always check the first one, and I will actually copy this selector because I will use it later again. So I'll save it, confirm, keep the screenshot confusing, and put an if clause there. Good. Oh, I need some output variables. So let's say there is input. This will be the name. If there is input, and of course I will rename this one. Good, easy as that. And there will be 2 possibilities. First, there is no input. Second, there is some input, right? So and this will repeat infinitely. So let's build firstly the one if there is no input. So let's think about it that it's running and we wanted to try it once some period of time. So maybe we put some delay activity here. Let's say 5 seconds, like this. And then we need activity called refresh browser. Why? Because if it will just check once 5 seconds, it will not do anything because it will not refresh the browser. We need to obviously refresh the browser after the delay. And because we are inside the browser scope, we can just leave it like this and it will know what browser to refresh. And then the left part. So first we want to get text. We want to get that input. Get text. And I will not indicate it because I will use the selector from the previous part that I had in clipboard. First line, let's call it like this. And then we create some output value. So let's call it input text, for example. And now we want to take from the input text, which will be all this. We want to separate the number and the message, right? So I will use multiple assign, which is really handy activity. I will put it there. Multiple assign. And on the left side, I will create 2 new variables. First will be request ID. This will be the number. And another one will be request text. Good. And this will come from splitting the first one. So let me open this in a bigger window. So we have the input text. I want to split it by this pipe, which we have to indicate its character. And then the first position is the ID. I will copy it. And to the request text, I need the second position after the pipe. It should be easy like this. So now when I have both of the things, then let's maybe put a log message here so it's visible what's happening. It's always good to put some log messages around. Even in each branch, it's nice to put a log message in the beginning of the branch so you know where the robot is, what's the robot actually doing. So let's write something like going to process item ID request ID. It's a string actually, so we don't have to with input text. We don't have to convert it. Request text. Good. So this will be some info message. Maybe we can also put a log message here, like no new inputs now. Okay, that's maybe better a little bit. And now we want to work with it. So we will work with this Morse sender app, and we are almost done with it. I want an activity that is called open application over there. And when you have the application open, then you can just indicate the window inside the browser. That's confusing, but it just indicates the window. And this will do the thing. The application is called Morse Sender. You can download it from Windows Store, and also link is in the first link under the video description. Just click around and there is a way. So do in Morse Sender, and we want to do actually two things, right? Type in the message here, and then get the text from here, and then three things, and then close the application. So type into this one, and I will indicate, where is it? I will indicate this field. I will wait a bit because I said I was too fast. And put the input, which will be request text, right? That's the right side of it. And then I want to get the result, yeah, and eventually empty field. And I believe in simulate type 2, which will be faster, should be fine. Yep, yep, good. And then get text to get the result, this one. And let's save it into a variable called result Morse, for example, and close the application. Like this, okay? This is the part with the application. I don't need it. I can keep it like this. And also I need to set the variable to the sequence one up, so I can work with it even after the open application. Because the last thing I want to do is to navigate to this URL that I had before. I will actually copy this for the reference, and send the result to the website. So I want to use an activity that I already used that was called navigate to. I can do it also like this, navigate to, and paste the URL. But I have to do some adjustments. So the ID will be not dots, a request ID, and in the end there will be a result Morse, like this. Okay, so this is a way how I will put the data back give the data back to the website. And because we want to actually then check another one, then I actually want to navigate back where I was before. So I will go to use one more navigate to, and just, or maybe we can put like this, HTTP. It should be HTTP because it's not secured yet. It's just a sample website, like this, but not just like this, for a robot.php. Okay. Reconnection successful. Sorry for that. I have no idea what happened, but we are back on track, and we are almost done. And you can soon try it yourself how this works, because this is all. And now, if I run this one, and I will need to close this application, and I also need to close this website because it's open and it will open a new one and it will be confused. I can check that it's working, and it will be working quite in the background. So let's try it. I will just run it. Let's see. Should open the website, right? Then check for it and then process it. So now my hands are off the keyboard. Sorry for the advertisement there. Okay, I know where I made a mistake. Sorry, I will kill it. You probably find out yourself that this is not my favorite browser, that I forgot to, in the activity open browser, specify that I want Firefox, not Internet Explorer. So sorry, let's give it one more try. So, okay, that's my buddy Firefox. Now it's working. See, oh, that was fast. Morse Sender. Okay. And it's actually really fast and it's working. And now, dear spectators, it will go, and each 5 seconds it will try a next one, refresh the page. So now you can actually go to this website and add some input data if you wish, or I can do it also, and we can check in the log messages here. Okay. Yeah, I forgot to adjust one more thing. I forgot to adjust the element exists that it doesn't have to wait so long, the timeout here, to let's say 200 milliseconds. So I'll restart it because it will always wait 30 seconds until it will realize there is no new item. So now let's have this on the right side and let's have this on the left side and create a new request. You can also try it. And it should appear on the right side soon as the robot will refresh the page. Or maybe not. I'm thinking maybe I closed him the window that he did not open and he's confused from it, because when there is open browser activity, okay, maybe he's really confused. Let's try it one more. That's the thing. You have to close the browser to actually make it smoothly operational. Okay, now it works. Or does it? It's still there. Oh, now it's gone. Okay. So you can try it. You can add some requests. I will try one more try. See, okay, it's there. It's working. And it's gone. Good. And if we go to home, I can watch that this is working. So I'm waiting for your testing now. It will be only for a few minutes. You can add some on this RPA -test.xf.cz page, but you don't have to. So this was an example how to approach triggering or taking input data from a website. I wanted to tell you one more thing, but yeah, I wanted to show you one more thing, that of course I like to have things pretty. So I created a second version that I also included in the source code, which is prettier, and using some style sheets. So let me just go from web draft to web like this and copy these two files and refresh it. And it's much prettier now. Actually, the Ford robot is the same, but this is prettier. Sorry for the advertisement, it's free hosting. So new request also is nicer and so on. And there is a link to RPA Fridays. So this is how it can be. Good, so that's all for today. I hope you like it. I hope you enjoy it. Sorry for the connection troubles. It should be fine. And I hope you learned something new. And if you would like to see the source code, go and explore it yourself. Now, time for your questions, if there are any. And I see there are no questions yet. So that's not a big deal. Not every time we have so many questions. Maybe I explained it really good, so we don't have questions. But if you have questions later, maybe you're watching this from from the recording, then please write in comments, and I will definitely answer those questions. So I hope you like this time. It was a little bit different. It was not solely UiPath, but it was also something else. I hope I was not so tragical with my coding skills, and I hope you like it, and you will come. I hope you will come next Friday. Please, if you like this webinar, give us a like, subscribe, and also you can join our Robot ICT community forum, where every week there's a new RPA challenge, interesting projects to try and to test your RPA skills, and also some learn sections, interesting articles, and soon some surprising contest. This was RPA Fridays. If you haven't yet, then you can sign up so you can have every week on email the topic of the next one. So you know if you should come or not, if it's interesting for you or not. We'll be really happy if you join the mailing list. You can subscribe to our channel, join our Facebook or LinkedIn groups, and you can find all of these links in the video description. So thank you if you're still watching this. If you watch it till this point, it was 45 minutes long. I know it was maybe a little bit hard, but I was happy that you were paying attention. So thank you for your attention, and I wish you